Hey, it's serverless office hours. Here we are. It is Tuesday. It is time for serverless office hours. I'm super excited. You may have figured out again. I'm not Julian Wood. Just so you all know, we used to say Julian had the long hair. I don't know if you caught this. If you've seen Julian in the last week, he has short hair. Not Eric Johnson short, but now he has short hair. That's not what you're here to watch, and so we'll move on. Super excited about today's show. I'm going to spoil it just a little bit. I'm a huge API gateway guy. I love API gateway was my first thing, and I'll tell that story in just a minute. But first of all, I want to introduce two amazing guests. Real quick, I'm going to have you introduce yourself, tell us what you do here at AWS, and why you do API gateway. Raphael, we'll start with you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Eric. I'm Raphael. I'm glad to be here, so thanks for having me. I'm a senior solutions architect, specialist in serverless, based here in San Francisco. But I just moved from Brazil. I've been in AWS for 5 years. And since I've joined AWS, I've been working with serverless, most API gateway, and also security. So I used to talk about security in serverless, things like that. And together with Eduardo, we've been doing a lot around API Gate here at AWS. So I'm really glad to be here. Thanks.
Yeah, glad to have you. You moved, wow, Brazil to San Francisco. That's
Yeah,
got to be a culture
I'm
shock of some sort.
yeah.
So that's great. That's really cool. Eduardo,
Thanks.
where you coming from? What do you do?
Hey, yeah. So thank you, Eric, for having me today. My name is Eduardo Rodrigues. I'm a senior enterprise solutions architect based out of São Paulo, Brazil, as Rafa mentioned. We used to work together. Here in São Paulo, I'm supporting the financial services industry customers in Brazil, and also I lead a group of specialists that is focusing on financial services. And as Rafa mentioned, serverless is enthusiast as well, and we are doing a lot with Amazon API Gateway. We built some things together, and here we are to talk about security and serverless and API Gateway today. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I love it. Sao Paulo. I love Sao Paulo. That's the one
You know
place in
that.
Brazil I have been. I think I may have hung out with y'all. They taught me, suave. I can say suave still, and I probably say that wrong, but I was so ignorant that I thought they spoke Spanish in Sao Paulo, and I'm like, no. So,
Everyone made the same mistake.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's Portuguese if you don't know, but. Super glad to have you here. API Gateway. When I came to AWS, I remember sitting down. Chris Munns was my boss at the time. If you remember Chris, he's awesome. And he said in my interview, they asked me this. So what is the service that you struggle with the most? And then I just API Gateway. I mean, it wasn't even a no-brainer because I really struggled with the integrations and what was an integration, what was and all the different things like that, and it's APIs can be complex, and so it was really funny because Chris goes, okay, great. That's what I want you to work on for the next year. And I was like, what? And so I did the happy little APIs and some different things. I love API Gateway. I'm not the expert that y'all are, so I'm excited today to have you sharing, what's going on. So we're getting a lot, some in here. We've got some watchers from Johannesburg, South Africa. Billy, great to have you. From LA, Erie Edits, quite a few others. So throw in there where you're watching from, and let's get started. Who's starting? And tell me what screen to share.
Yeah, I think that Raphael can give you a quick overview around the security landscape and talking about APIs and how to secure APIs. So, Rafa.
Yeah, so
All
thanks, Eric. Before I jump on API Gateway, let's talk about security in a broader vision, right? So
I'm going to
let
bring
me
on your screen. Is that cool? You ready?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I'm ready. So yeah,
Here we
please.
go. All right.
Okay. So here first, I'm sharing this website from Traceable, very well known security company that provides some kind of reports they have like a report around the security landscape of APIs. And as you guys can see here from the last 2 years, 57% of organizations were hit by some API data breach related. We have some kind of good insights here that API attack detection remains blind spot. People have to care about. Our APIs, if not everyone, but most of companies, most of our customers needs or use APIs. And if you are exposed APIs, it's really it's very important to secure them and take care about what's happening. And now, if you can see, like we have a bunch of good stuffs here. With the generative AI comes up, new surface attacks are coming together. So we have to keep up to date around that. So I just would like to bring this first. It's a good insight for everyone to take a look, understand what's happening, understand the landscape of APIs. And before jump to the API gateway itself, let's talk about some kind of standards and frameworks that you have out there that you could follow. Like, how can we understand what kind of attacks is out there, the most common ones? So I would like to discuss a little bit about the OWASP project. So I will change my screen here right now. So I think I should stop and share again, right?
Yep, that's fine. Yeah, you can do that. While you do that, I'm going to comment. OWASP is one of the scariest names I think out there. When you say OWASP, that scares me. It's got wasp in it, so it's like it's always like, oh, I don't know. That's a really scary name. So all right, we'll put this up here.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. But OWASP is a foundation, is a non-profit foundation project company, not company, a non-profit foundation that is being there for almost 25 years. Here is the website of OWASP. It's a kind of organization. It's a stand for Open Worldwide Application Security Project. They have a bunch of projects, tools, communities to try to keep maintain software security. One of the projects that they have is like the most famous one is the OWASP Top 10. So basically, they joined together and put in place the top 10 vulnerabilities that we have on the web applications out there. We have like reviews. It's 4 years, or if I'm not mistaken. The next one will be this year. So keep in touch with that. They will have news for the top 10 web security. This is a good thing to take a look, because here you can follow the standards, and use that to understand the risks in place that we have on web applications and APIs and others. If you look on the projects, we have like projects for AI, for LLMs. We have top 10 for LLMs. But for today, we will discuss one specific project that is OWASP API Security project. So here we have the top 10 security vulnerabilities for APIs, right? So first thing, when you are creating your APIs, you have to understand first your business, the risk is in place, on your applications. And this is a good place to take a look to understand the most risks, how to handle those risks, how to handle those vulnerabilities, understand what's happening, what's going on. So this is a good one to take a look. But this is a standard, You have other frameworks out there. You can follow NIST, you can follow CSA, you can follow a bunch of other standards as well to keep your application secure, you know. And after you understand how your business work, after you understand the risk is in place, you know, you will create your APIs using some kind of serve, some kind of tools. You have to understand how those tools, how those serves works, their capabilities, their features, you know. And today we are going to talk about Amazon API Gate, right? So I think it's a good thing to talk about. I will touch a little bit on the API Gateway security features that we have. So a couple of links that useful. Let me share this link here. I think we can share this link, right,
Yeah.
Eric?
Yeah.
So and
Gotcha.
the other one as well that I mentioned. So everyone can download the report, understand a little bit. You know, take a look on the OWASP. In my opinion, is something that is required. You know, when you are developing your APIs, when you are understand the risks in place and how to mitigate those. You don't have to take a look on each one, but you have to be aware of the vulnerabilities in place out there, the most common, and how to protect your APIs. Otherwise, you know, you could suffer some kind of attack, data exposure, etc.
So I'm going to interrupt you here
Yeah,
for a second, and this is
awesome.
my take on it. I think one of the mistakes that people make when we're talking about security, and when we're building, all right, we're sitting down, we've been given here's a greenfield or net new, or maybe you're going to modify or migrate, whatever you're going to do. But security seems to be one of the last things we think about, right? We build it, and I'm guilty of it too. I spend half of, if not three-quarters of my life building proof of concepts, right? My job is I kind of build happy path applications, right? Look how cool this is, and then it goes away. And most of them, like, and I have said this from stage more than I care to admit. I didn't add authentication or worry about that just because I'm showing it to you and taking it down. But it's like, and I have one in the works that as you were talking, I'm like, oh man, I got to lock that up. But it seems to be, one of the last things we think about. And I would say, at least from my understanding, when I'm building out, it's much harder to add after the fact. If you start, the things that we're getting ready to climb into, you want to be thinking about these from the point of the idea of building the application, not after you've built it all and then going back and adding it, because it's much easier, and it gets that mindset of integrating it at every layer. And there's a lot, there's a lot you can do, and I'm not going to, I can take over the show just rambling on this stuff. These are some of the problems I've seen, and so I really encourage, if you're watching, think about security at the beginning, especially when you're building serverless. We do so much to help you do that, that I think it's critical. All right, that's my ramble for a minute.
Yeah, absolutely, totally agree, Eric. There's something that we call like shift left for security as well. I used to work the past years before AWS as a DevSecOps engineer, and I'm always being the guy that like trying to put security on the way on a development cycle,
That's the worst.
But
yeah.
Adding it to your own code is one thing.
People used to like blame me for
Yeah.
delaying some kind of project,
You need to think in security since the beginning, right? As we say here at AWS, security is job zero. We need to have secured by design in your projects because, as Rafa mentioned and Traceable AI mentioned as well, with the Gemini, our attack surface it's getting bigger and bigger, and the APIs are the way that we expose our services to the world, right? So this is why we always have to think in security, and this is why we have to have secured by design. This is job zero.
Well, and I love this statement. Victor said this earlier. I just hadn't brought it up yet. He said, oh, sorry, hang on a second here. You're getting the right place. You'd think I'd know how to do this, but okay, here we go. He said, "I'm always a step further or ahead of bad actors," and man, that is a massively true statement.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, I don't know if you know this a long time ago, and this could be an urban legend, but at one point it was known that the people who built police radars, like here in the U.S., are the same people who built the radar detectors, right? And so it was a constant battle of who had the latest, and that's where we're at, right? We always have to stay one step ahead because it's constantly changing. You can never sit back and go, "We're secure." So,
Yeah, that's true. And that's the reason I was talking about, like when you understand your business flow, when you are understand your APIs, since the beginning you have to understand the risks in place, And again, using this as a standards as a framework, it's a good first step to do. Understand vulnerabilities in place. I'm not jumping on every vulnerabilities here, but one good thing, not good actually, but one thing you can see, the first ones here, like the most common vulnerabilities is related to authentication and authorization. So that means that most of attacks and threats that we are seeing out there is related to Alpha and Z. So again, it's really good to access, understand those vulnerabilities, how you can mitigate those. But you also have to understand, the tools and services you are using. So let's jump to the Amazon API Gateway now. Let me
Okay.
let me
Oh,
share
wow.
my
you're gonna
screen here.
just show the serverless
Yeah,
land page, right? Right.
yeah, I will show another source here.
Cool.
For those who follow this channel knows the Serverless page. Let me put on the chat here as well. So here on the session build API platform on AWS, you guys have the API lifecycle is really important. So the development tests, when you are build, you have here the security. That's what we were talking about. You have all the others stages for the API lifecycle. And for security, we have a bunch of things that you can do with Amazon API Gateway. For authorization, you can using Lambda authorizers to create your custom authorization, your fine-grained authorization. You can leverage other services like Amazon Verify Permission to do fine-grained authorizations for your application. You can create a layered security. You can integrate with other services like WAF, CloudFront to mitigate attacks from like DDoS attacks, things like that. So this is a good start point to understand not only security, but the whole life cycle development when you are building your APIs on API Gateway with API Gateway on AWS, some kind of third-party partner solutions that you can also use and integrate with API Gateway. And another good documentation to know more about the security landscape and security features on Amazon API Gateway is this one, the security overview of Amazon API Gateway, our official white paper for that. So let me just jump in this link. So here we have like a secure overview of like all the features that we have and best practices around API Gateway that you can follow. So this is also a good
Hey,
practice
Raphael,
to
can you
do.
share that link to the white paper on me? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
Oh yeah, for sure. I will just put
we've got 50
here.
people asking for it. Yeah, Billy, I'm getting it for you right now.
Yeah,
Thanks,
for
sir.
sure. Yeah, thanks for remembering me about that.
Yeah, no
And
worries.
here we have like the security design principle. So it's a extensive documentation that you can see a bunch of stuffs here. That you have like features since like MTLS that you can configure on your API gateway, about integrations, TLS, like security at rest, security in encryption at rest, encryption in transit. Yeah, sorry. A bunch of other stuffs here that you can take a look, how to minimize the attacks, the surface attacks, integrations, as I said, as I mentioned before, like with CloudFront, put WAF rules in place, and at the end, when we talk about API security, a very important thing here is to talk about defense in depth. That means, when you apply security, you apply like security in all layers, not just on the API gateway. So here you can see like an example of a serverless application, an architecture of a serverless application that you have like security controls in every layer here, not just on API gateway. Okay, API Gate provides you like course configuration, access control. You can validate the input of your request. You can create rate limits and throttle, things like that on API Gateway. But you also have to care about the security of your backend as well. Sometimes, if you have to create security controls that are duplicated, you are doing like you are securing your the inputs that you are receiving on your API, but you also have to secure the inputs you are receiving on your Lambda function here, for example. So this is a very important thing. Some people they used to like, oh, I'm just securing things on the API gate, so I don't have to care about what's happening on the back end. And this is a wrong thing, because if someone like have access or in some way on your back end that's not via API gateway, you are not check around that. Or if your API gateway is exposed in some way and someone could change the configuration or whatever, you are not handled this kind of treat or validation in your backend. So this is a couple of insights, around that. And this is a very good white paper to go through and read when you are designing your application on AWS.
I remember when I first started working with API Gateway or applications in general, and the idea was if you can secure the front door, then everything, all the other doors should be open. What does it matter, right? And it really getting in my head, because we talk about the concept of blast radius. Something to think about is you always build to try to keep anybody from getting out, but you also build as if they got in, right? And so you want to reduce what they have access to. So, okay, maybe they got to this Lambda, but I'm certainly not going to let them get to another Lambda function or a container or something like that. So again, we're doing this layers, right? The onions or cakes, cakes have layers if you're a Shrek fan. And so, but it's really critical because you have to change that mindset. And I know I'm just repeating what you said, but it's really important to kind of get that mindset of, yeah, I'm going to build to keep anybody out, but I'm going to build as if they got through as well. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And that being said, people also could be struggle or understand, okay, how can we use now together, how we can put the API gateway security features in place in a specific application? How can we understand the risks in my specific application and look at the OWASP top 10 APIs as a reference, to secure my application. So to help our customers on that, we created a new workshop on API Gateway that we show exactly what I just said. We create like an application for the payment industry, for the FSI industry that has a lot of risks, and we have a bunch of risks in place, and we mapped that so people can understand how to map those risks with the vulnerabilities that we have listed on the OWASP, and how to secure the Amazon API Gateway layer in that case, how to leverage the features that we have on the API Gateway to treat those risks in place on that application. So, Eduardo, would like to show the workshop.
Sure.
All righty, here we go.
All right. So as Rafa mentioned, with that in mind, we thought, hey, we should create a workshop to expose all the vulnerabilities that WASP Top 10 reports in application, and we can show to our customers how to mitigate these vulnerabilities using API Gateway and other services that we have in place here. Right, so we created this workshop. It's public and available for everyone to run in your own account, and or if you are a AWS customer, you can ask for your accounting to run with you. So this is what I'm going to show you right now. This is the workshop that we built together to show all the vulnerabilities present on the WASP Top 10 API and how to mitigate those, right? So this is the workshop that we built. We have like all the overview that Rafa gave you today. And this is like the workshop, the vulnerabilities reported to on the OWASP Top 10 report. And then we created, like, as Rafa said before, you need to understand your business context, right? So for that, and also because I'm a financial services industry guy, we created a payments application to expose those vulnerabilities, right? So we created like a scenario-based workshop, and here we have like two kind of roads that uses these APIs. This is kind of like a payment gateway company that offers to merchants APIs to execute and to do payments using those APIs, right? So we just have, for the purpose of the workshop, we have two roles. One is the merchants, and the other one is the administrators. Each role with their own purpose and their own permissions to do things in the application, right? And we have some security considerations for that. So we mapped all of the risks into a specific situation in the workshop. And for instance, for API 1, broken object level authorization, this one is very common one, the BOLA, right? As Rafa said, there's no one size fits all when you are trying to mitigating that. We are just showing you how you can use the Amazon API Gateway and the other services that we are using to do the authorization and authentication to mitigate this API vulnerability. For instance, the merchants could potentially access other merchants' payment statements. We have one endpoint that could be explored, that could be potentially a risk for the application, right? We have the other ones. We have one for each API vulnerability that is present in OWASP Top 10, right? I'm not do like a dive deep into each vulnerability, but I'm going to explain to you guys the workshop structure and how we structure the scenario that we put in these APIs and how we are going to mitigate these vulnerabilities that we are going to show you. So,
hey, real quick before we jump into that, we do have a question that came in, and I think it'll help with the context of this. We got a question that said, "Will the workshop have an expiry after initiating or the self-paced?" Yeah, do you want to explain how our workshops work?
Yeah, sure. This part of our official catalog of workshops you can do by yourself, by themselves, and you can create in your account the environment that the workshops provide, and will not expire. You can use it in your own account. You can use all the code that we gave to you during the workshop, and you can use all the examples that they are going to show you during the workshop. But when you're running this in an event, such as Brainforce, BrainVent, AWS Summit, or some workshop that your accounting provides to you, there's an expiration time, right? So could be 24 hours, could be 40 hours until 72 hours, right?
Mhm.
Eric,
Yeah,
if
Yeah,
you
that's
want.
correct. Yeah.
yeah, and just in case, like to understand how long the this workshop takes to being complete is like you can like complete everything in less than 2 hours, but there is a lot to explore. You can keep trying other ways to secure APIs, do other keep securing other endpoints and whatever you can explore without expiration in your account.
Perfect. Thank you.
Exactly. Right, so we have some endpoints, and we also have the workshop will provision an API gateway and an API. We'll publish this API for you, and we have all the backend prepared to show the vulnerabilities. And we have those endpoints. We have payments, we have merchants, to get the merchant profile details. We have like a way to get details of a specific payment. We will have the endpoint to create a new payment, and we have like the payment statement for each account number and merchant. We also have some admins endpoints and so on. And then we have like some business flows that we explain here, how the payment works, how the profile merchant profile management works, the account statement access, and so on. And one thing that I want to show you guys is the final architecture that the workshop will provide to you. So we have like other services along with Amazon API Gateway to do the in-depth security, right? So this is the thing that Eric and Rafa was saying to you, that we need to create layers of security to make sure that all the security standards will be in place. We need to think not only on the front desk, on the front door, but we need to think how to secure the backends. We need to think how to do some rate limiting on our APIs. We need to protect against DDoS. We need to protect against injections. And this is kind of the final architecture they're going to see in the workshop. We are using Amazon API Gateway, AWS WAF. We are going to use also Cognito for authentication and authorization in conjunction and working together with Amazon Verified Permissions. Amazon Verified Permissions, by the way, it's a really cool service that we have using CEDAR policies to create like permission as a code. So we're going to see that through the workshop. And we are also using Lambda Authorizer, using like a custom authorization to put all together. And the backend is built on top of Lambdas, right? So it's a fully serverless application. And it's a
Yeah.
fully serverless application. Uh, Sorry, go ahead, Rafa.
Yeah, no, no. Just one observation here, just to make sure that this is clear. For this workshop, guys, we create like a backend totally vulnerable, and we are gonna use the API gate to secure the layer of APIs for this backend. So you are not seeing this workshop, you mitigate the vulnerabilities on the backend. The
Right.
thing here is the backend is vulnerable. How we can mitigate the front door? How we can secure this vulnerable backend with the front door using API gateway. But again, you have to secure in real world your backend as well. You have to duplicate your security protections on your back end.
Right. Thank you, Rafa. So the last thing that I want to show you guys and I want to explain it's how we structure the workshop in terms of modules and how we are going to treat all the vulnerabilities, right? For that, we have 4 modules. Which one we are tackling one of a group of vulnerabilities. So, for instance, in the module 1, we're going to work on the advanced authentication and authorization. So, we're going to tackle API 1, 2, 3, and 5 vulnerabilities, right? And we have a strong focus on how to enrich JWT tokens, how to configure Lambda authorizers to work with Amazon Verified Permissions, and how we can validate BOLA, which stands for Broken Object Level Authorization, to mitigate those vulnerabilities, right? In module 2, we're going to work with input validation and attack protection. So we're going to tackle API 7, API 10, API, just those 2. And we're going to focus on validation, on how to validate JSON schemas, on how to manipulate response map, using response map to manipulate and not exposing details from your backend to the users. And we are going to also to create WAF rules to validate on the level 7, on the layer 7 of the HTTP, the requests that are being sent to the backends. On module 3, are going to focus on. Sorry.
This is really cool. Sorry, I was explaining
Awesome.
out loud. So there's so much going on here. Sorry, I was excited.
Yeah.
Talk out loud. I should mute myself once in a while, or all the time, as my wife would say. But this is great because what you're kind of doing is, okay, so I could take. Let's say I build my application or I'm doing this. I could literally say, okay, now I'm going to run this workshop. Check. And now I'm secure. I've got this, really secure. I want to, and you tell me if it's better to wait a little bit, but we can't do this for all of them, but talk about object level for a minute. What does that mean? When we say object level, the BOLA one, of course, I think object level, I think 3. I think things like that. What does that mean at an object level?
Yeah, I can get this one. When you have when you say about object level in your application, when you have like an object, something that belongs to you, to a user, not necessarily that it's an S3 or in a database or whatever, but something that belongs to that user, and this has some kind of ID, and only this user can access this object. So he has this user has authorization to access the object that belongs to him. So this vulnerability, it's when your application doesn't check around those kind of access. So imagine
the ownership of the object.
The ownership of the object.
Yeah.
So imagine it in this case for this application, payment. It's an object of payments that you do. It's a object. It's something that belongs to you. And sometimes I could access the payment description, put in the URL the ID of this specific payment. If I don't validate well this kind of access, other people just can change the ID of this object and access the object of other person, other user. So that's the thing. That's it's the most common, and it's I think the easiest way to explore some kind of vulnerability. You just have to change the ID of some kind of object. So if you know how to access your own object, you just change the ID and try to understand or search for other objects that not belongs to you.
That makes
Let me
total
show
sense.
you guys. I'm going to show you this how we put this vulnerability in this module. It's on the module 1. And here we have like a bunch of explanations around the vulnerabilities. And here we have like one merchant can access the payment statement that belongs to the other merchant because we are not checking the ownership of the object. So I can use and I can explore this vulnerability by changing my token, my authorization token, to access other information or the information from other users as well. So let me show you how we're going to explore that. Each model we have like some sections. The first section is how to explore the vulnerability. And then we're going to implement the mitigation, and then we're going to test again to see if the vulnerability was mitigated, right? Let me see if I can show you how this vulnerability can be explored. For instance, BOLA. Let me see. Here I have the account that I provisioned for this demo. This is Cloud Shell, by the way. Each AWS account have Cloud Shell. You just need to click on this link as well, and they're going to access Cloud Shell.
Love Cloud Shell.
Yeah, Cloud Shell
Yeah,
is very
so
nice.
helpful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, for this workshop, we are already provisioning the infrastructure, the required infrastructure to run the workshop, right? So I already have like the APIs in place and so on. So for explore this vulnerability, I will just run a curl request to access the endpoint of to access the payment statements of the account M2001, right? And I'm trying to access using the merchant one token. This could thing, right? So this is
Always a
the
risk when you
account.
live code. Well done.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm Nexus. This is actually my payment, right?
Yep.
This account is present in my JWT token. I'm using like the claims, and JWT token is using the claims, and the account, it's a custom claim that is present inside the JWT token, right? For instance, if I do like let's just bring, oh, I'll just bring this this token, and if I go to jwt.io, I have like this token, right? And as you can see, we put inside the token the accounts that belongs to the merchant one. I have like here, for instance, M1001, account M1002, right? So that's why I can access this payment. I have permissions to do that, right? But okay, I'm just seeing the payment. So let me try to access. Oh,
Actually, you already accessed the
yeah.
payments from the other merchant.
I'm
Yeah,
seeing.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm manipulating the URL right now. Exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So that's exactly what I explained,
yeah,
you know. So you guys can see that the merchant, the account member, he belongs to the M1001 and M102, and he could access the
Pay
from the
attention.
other one. Yeah,
This is merchant 2001, right?
yeah.
But my token is from merchant 1. And as we can see, this account is not belongs to this merchant, just merchant 1, and that's it. So I'm using my
So I'm gonna take a quick second here. So what we're saying is, while they have access to the table, all the merchants should have access to the table, right? Look, they all got to read their stuff.
Yeah.
We're not getting granular
Exactly.
enough on this authorization. And we're saying, look, give
Exactly.
access table, you can get anything if you can guess what it is in your head. So by switching from M1001 or M2001 to, you could switch like, hey, I'm going to try customer 3001 and just try, then we've
Yeah.
lost control. So I follow you now. That makes sense. So we got to get
Yeah,
more
because
granular.
I have a valid token, but I'm not checking the granularity of the object. That's why I can explore the BOLA vulnerability, right?
And this is
Right.
one important thing is that like Eduardo, we're gonna go through we're gonna go through how to mitigate this vulnerability on API gateway, but most of BOLA vulnerability you have to mitigate on the back end actually, you are not able to mitigate on the API, but we create a scenario here that you can for this case use leverage API gateway to mitigate this kind of vulnerability.
Yeah, exactly. Because that depends on the cardinality of your object, right? I'm here. We are using account numbers, but I can't use payment ID, for instance, right? To validate this should be on the back end. Let's see
And
how I can.
built into some of our services, let's say for like DynamoDB, I don't know if it's DynamoDB that you're hitting here, but you can do that with conditions. You can do that row level and say, look, your access has to match. But you're right, it's on the back end. We're not doing that necessarily
Exactly.
API, but it's on the back end, but it's that layer of security working together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just let me show you another vulnerability. Like here, I'm going to access the payment statements using the token from merchant one as well. Let me put this. All right, it's working. And then I have like the merchant 2 as well. Nothing wrong until now. Okay, it's working as well because there are 2 different merchants, and the response will show different IDs and so on. And here we can create a temporary token using the SU, which is a part of the JWT token, from one merchant to another. So when I create this kind of, I'll not go through the entire script because, because it's a bit like big, but I have here a new variable that I created using the temporary token. If I do like echo, let me pick the name, this one. So I have a token that I manipulated. If we can check this token, I have here the subdivision. This one is from another merchant. So I manipulated the token. But what happens when I do that? It's that the signature from token will be broke. But if I'm not checking this on the backend, on the authorization phase of my request, this will expose another vulnerability as well, because now I'm seeing the the payment statement from another merchants just because I manipulated the token, right?
All right. Yeah. Hey, just a heads up, because I know we're covering a lot here. We have about a 10-minute warning, just letting you know.
Right.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Let me
really
show you
stuff,
how
though.
to implement the mitigations that we have. So first of all, we have like the Amazon verified permissions that we created. This is how we can give more granularity to the permissions and the policies that we create. And now we're going to integrate with the Amazon API gateway. So I have like this authorizer that we're going to create. Let me create a new authorizer for Amazon API gateway. Real quick. This is the API with all the resources there. And we have authorizers. There's no authorizer as well. There's no authorizer until now. And I'm going to create a new authorizer using Lambda. And I already have a Lambda here prepared to do that and to integrate with Amazon Verify Permissions. We have the code for the Lambda here. If you want to see, if you want to explore the code, we have all this here. And we're going to just configure the, let me see if this is the right one, right? We're going to use the request, and we're going to use the header authorization, right? And done. We have the one authorizer to use in our API, right? So the research that I used before, it's like the payments that we have, right? The account number in the payments that we have. So I'm going just to edit at this endpoint here, resource, account number payments, get for accounts, account number payments, right? And on the request method, I'm going to edit this one, and they're going to put the authorizer that I just created and configure that, right? I just need to save and deploy the API to the prod stage, right? I have a new revision, a new deployment of my API in place now, and now the payment statement endpoint is secured by the authorizer, right? So if I do again this request after some time that we will apply the authorizer, this tempered token shouldn't have access anymore. Let me see. Oh,
Caching
this is
is
the
always
payments. The payments actually.
Is that the payment one? Yeah.
Yeah. Let me pick the other call here.
The temporary as well. It will work for the temporary. Oh,
Yeah.
it's another endpoint actually. You have to put the.
Yeah. Let me put again. It's just payments here, right? No.
Another one.
That's the one you just did. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
This one.
Yeah.
Let me update the method, edit, put the authorizer, save, deploy API, prod, stage.
So you've done this a time or two.
Yeah. Usually gets like 30 seconds to apply. Yep. And let me see. Object broken level.
So when he does the deploy like this, we have to propagate the deployments across several.
Yeah,
API
exactly.
has
a little bit.
Exactly.
Yep. So it can take a little bit of time.
Yeah, I think it's better you get new tokens. If you get new tokens, I think it will not. Maybe it's some kind of cache or whatever.
This should work. Let's just see if okay, stage. Let me see, because there's some cache in place, right?
Yeah. So, now it's working.
There it is.
Nice.
Yeah. So here I'm saying that this user are not authorized to access this resource with explicit deny. And we are doing what we are doing in the authorization phase is to check the integrity of the token and to check if the token wasn't manipulated by anyone before we can pass the request to the backend, right? That's what we are doing here. So if I manipulate the token and put some information from another merchant and try to access the payments from another merchant, I will not be able anymore, right? Because we are doing the more advanced authorization right now.
Well, and I know
Cool.
there's someone asked like, well, how would they know the other merchant's token or merchant's stuff like that? You'd be shocked. You'd be actually absolutely shocked what people will go through to get that kind of information. Phishing obviously is a huge thing right now. Social scams, things like that. It's crazy. So I'm going to take 2 minutes and wrap some things up, and then if y'all have a shameless plug you want to throw in, unfortunately we have to cut right on the hour because they're rolling
Yeah.
here. So Billy,
Yeah.
you had a question, so I'm going to throw this up really quick. It said you said you were being asked for an access code. What you want to do, and let me actually take this down and throw mine up there. When you're getting started, you'll have a couple of options. You have the hosted option, of which it defaults to. This is the one that's going to ask you for a token. If you want to run this on your own, go ahead and hit the self-service option, and then you can follow the instructions here. And it'll tell you how to do that. So kind of get that. And then we have another question, a couple other questions coming in. So because it's serverless office hours, let me jump on these real quick here. I'm interested in the module, IE Module 1, Advanced Authentication Authorization. So that would be, if you look up a little bit, and I'll repost the catalog link, but all these are in the catalog. So I'll repost that link for you. That comes from Spicy something or other. I'm actually getting a link right now here. So okay, any shameless plugs from YouTube before we wrap this up?
Yeah, no.
Alrighty.
Right.
Okay. All right, so we have another one here. I noticed that API security. Is there a similar authorizer concept for Amazon AppSync? Do y'all know the answer to that one? I know that AppSync does have authorizers. Yes. I don't think I could go granular on that as I haven't done it in a little while, but yeah, the short answer is definitely yes. So, okay, well, I'm going to throw one thing out here. Here a while back, I think we have someone said they were watching from the Philippines. I'm super excited that you said something because I will actually be in the Philippines in several weeks. I really encourage you, if you get a chance, we're bringing serverless to the Philippines, so I'm going to throw in a link for that. Who's watching? So yeah, we'll be watching for. Man, keep an eye on my social because I'm coming to India, Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand all in the next month, and Australia. So, and we're bringing serverless. We have Gidrius, who we'd be talking about API gateway security. He's a well-known API gateway expert. So, with that, we're gonna wrap up here. Raphael, Eduardo, I really appreciate it. This is, this is the deep stuff that people want. So really good stuff. So keep an eye out. We'll be putting more, but thank you both for doing this. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for inviting us. It was a pleasure. And yeah.
Yep, very much so.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for having us today.
You bet. I want to throw a thanks out to Jeffrey, who is our producer. Jeff, I'm going to turn it back over to you.